The community center parking lot was already half full when I pulled in at 11:30 a.m. The annual family reunion had been held every 4th of July weekend for the past 23 years. My son Jake sat in the back seat, carefully holding the potato salad I'd made at his insistence. "There's Uncle Mike's truck," he said, pointing. "And Aunt Lisa's van." I took a deep breath and checked my reflection in the rearview mirror. Presentable. Professional. Come. "Ready, buddy?" "Ready." We walked across the parking lot together. Jake was 8 now, tall for his age with his father's dark hair and my stubborn chin. He'd been asking about this reunion for weeks, excited to see his cousins. I hadn't told him about the tensions, the whispered conversations, the way my mother's voice got tight whenever I called. The moment we walked through the door, I knew it was a mistake. My mother stood near the registration table, surrounded by my aunts. She saw us immediately. Her expression shifted from pleasant hostess to something cold and pinched. "Look who's disrupting the peace again," she announced loudly enough for the entire room to hear. Conversations stopped. Heads turned. My cousin Sarah, who'd been laughing at something, went quiet. Uncle Mike, flipping burgers at the grill station, paused mid-flip. Even the kids playing in the corner seemed to sense the shift in atmosphere. Everyone turned away. Not dramatically, not obviously, but the message was clear. Back straightened. Conversations resumed in quieter tones. People suddenly found reasons to be on the opposite side of the room. Jake's hand tightened around mine. "Are we bad, Mommy?" His voice was small, confused. That question broke something in me. Not anger, not hurt exactly, just a sudden clarity about what I was willing to accept and what I wasn't. "No, baby. We're not bad at all." I squeezed his hand. "Let's go." "But the potato salad. We'll have it for dinner tonight. Just you and me." We walked back to the car in silence. Jake didn't cry, but I could see him processing it, trying to understand why Grandma had said that, why everyone had turned away. I didn't have a good answer that wouldn't make him feel worse. On the drive home, he finally asked, "Why doesn't Grandma like us?" I chose my words carefully. "Sometimes grown-ups have disagreements. It's not about you. You didn't do anything wrong." "But she said we disrupt the peace." "I know. But that's not true." What I didn't tell him was the full story. How after his father left when Jake was 2, my mother had been furious that I'd refused to chase him down for child support. How she'd called me prideful and stupid for not securing my financial future. How every family gathering since had included pointed comments about my choices, my job, my situation. The disruption she referred to wasn't really about peace. It was about the fact that I'd stopped playing along with the family narrative. I'd stopped pretending everything was fine. I'd stopped making myself small to make everyone else comfortable. At home, Jake and I ate potato salad and hot dogs on the back porch. We watched fireworks from the neighborhood display. He fell asleep early, exhausted from the emotional weight of the day. I sat on the couch with my laptop, staring at my email inbox. There was one message I'd been avoiding for 3 days. The subject line read, "Palmer Property Holdings, Quarterly Report." I opened it and read through the numbers. 23 residential properties across the city. Occupancy rate at 96%. Rental income steady. Property values up 8% from last quarter. My property manager, Susan, had attached a note. "The Riverside apartment complex is performing exceptionally well. Your mother's unit is in the building, flagged for renovation next year. Should I send the standard notice, or do you want to handle that communication personally?" I stared at that line for a long time. My mother lived in a 2-bedroom apartment in the Riverside complex. She had for the past 11 years, ever since she and Dad divorced and she downsized from their house. She paid $1,200 a month, which was roughly 40% below market rate for that area. She didn't know I owned the building. She didn't know I owned any buildings. What she knew was that I worked in property management, which she'd always said with a slight sneer, as if I were a glorified janitor. She knew I worked long hours. She knew I'd somehow managed to buy a decent house in a good school district on a property manager's salary, which she found suspicious and probably irresponsible. What she didn't know was that I'd started buying distressed properties 8 years ago, during the market crash. Small apartment buildings, foreclosures. Nothing fancy. I'd renovated them slowly, carefully, learning as I went. I'd reinvested every profit, built a portfolio, created something sustainable. I'd kept it quiet because the moment my family knew I had money, everything would change. They'd want loans they'd never repay. They'd have opinions about my investments. They'd find ways to make it about them. But more than that, I'd kept it quiet because I wanted to build something that was mine. Something I'd done myself without family input or interference or judgment. Now, sitting in my living room with the memory of my son's hurt face fresh in my mind, I realized the cost of that privacy. I typed a response to Susan. Send standard notice to all units, including my mother's. No special treatment. And Susan, starting next month, adjust her rent to market rate. Current tenant rate is $1,200. Market rate for that unit is $2,100. I hit send before I could second-guess myself. The next morning was Saturday. I took Jake to the farmer's market, then to the movies. We had ice cream. We went to the park. I didn't check my phone until we got home at 4 o'clock. 17 missed calls from my mother. 9 from Aunt Patricia. 5 from Cousin Sarah. A flood of text messages. I listened to the first voicemail from my mother. I received the most outrageous notice from my landlord today. They're raising my rent to $2,100. That's almost double. This is criminal. I need you to help me find a new place immediately. Call me back. The second voicemail 2 hours later. Why aren't you answering? This is serious. I can't afford $2,100 a month. I'm on a fixed income. Your aunt says there are laws against this kind of increase. Call me. The third voicemail angrier. I don't appreciate being ignored. After everything I've done for you, the least you could do is help me in a crisis. Patricia says you know people in property management. I need names. Numbers. Something. I didn't call back. On Sunday my phone rang at 8 a.m. My mother again. I let it go to voicemail. Then Aunt Patricia called. Your mother is beside herself, Patricia said when I finally answered. She got this insane rent increase notice. The landlord is being completely unreasonable. We need your help. You work in property management, don't you? Can you talk to them? Who's the landlord? I asked calmly. Some company. Palmer Property Holdings. Sounds like one of those corporate vultures. Can you reach out to them? See if they'll be reasonable. Palmer was my middle name. My company was registered under my maiden name, which I'd kept for business purposes. I can reach out, I said. But, Patricia, market rate for that area is actually around $2,100. The current rent was significantly below market. That doesn't matter. She's lived there for 11 years. They can't just. They can actually. It's legal with proper notice. Silence. Then, I thought you'd help family. I am helping. I'm telling you the truth about the market. She hung up. By Monday the story had evolved. My mother had apparently been telling everyone that I'd refused to help her, that I was being cold and unhelpful in her time of crisis. The family group chat, which I'd muted months ago, was full of messages about my selfishness. On Tuesday morning I received a call from Susan. Your mother came to the property office yesterday demanding to speak to the owner. I told her the owner doesn't take meetings. All communication goes through me. He was quite upset. She's threatening to organize other tenants, says the increase is predatory. Let me know if she continues to be disruptive. Document everything. There's something else. She's applied for 3 other apartments in the area. All of them are your properties. She doesn't realize it because they're managed under different business names. I hadn't planned that. It was pure coincidence that the affordable apartments in her desired area happened to be in my portfolio. Process her applications normally, I said. Credit check, references, standard procedure. Her credit score is below our usual threshold. Of course it was. My mother had always been impulsive with money, emotional with spending. It was one of the reasons she and Dad had divorced. Then decline the applications. Normal business practice. That evening my mother showed up at my house. I watched through the door camera as she rang the bell repeatedly, then started pounding on the door. Jake was doing homework at the kitchen table. Who is it? He asked. Nobody important, I said, not moving from where I stood. My mother's voice came through the door. I know you're in there. Open this door. We need to talk about this apartment situation. You have connections and you're refusing to help me. Your own mother. Jake's eyes went wide. That's Grandma. Yeah. Are you going to let her in? I looked at my son, thought about him asking if we were bad people, thought about the way my mother had humiliated us in front of the entire family. No, I said. I'm not. My mother shouted through the door for another 5 minutes before finally leaving. Jake watched me the entire time, processing this new dynamic where his mom didn't automatically defer to grandma's demands. You can say no to grown-ups? He asked quietly. When they're being unreasonable or unkind, yes. You can. He thought about this. Even to family? Especially to family. Family doesn't get to treat you badly just because they're family. On Wednesday, Aunt Patricia called again. Your mother's moving in with me temporarily. She can't find an affordable apartment anywhere. Every place either won't accept her application or is charging outrageous rent. I thought you were going to help. I told you the market rates. That was helping. That's not she's family. She needs you. She needed me to be her punching bag. That's different from actually needing help. What's that supposed to mean? I took a breath. It means I'm tired of being treated like a problem. Like a disruption. Like I'm doing something wrong by existing and making my own choices. This is about the reunion, isn't it? He was just stressed. She didn't mean. She meant every word. He always means it. And I'm done pretending it doesn't matter. So you're going to let your mother be homeless? Over one comment. My mother isn't homeless. She's staying with you. And it wasn't one comment. It's been years of comments. Years of being told I'm not enough, that I'm doing it wrong, that I'm disrupting everyone's peace by not being whatever she wants me to be. Patricia was quiet for a moment. There's more to this, isn't there? Something you're not saying. I almost told her then. Almost explained that I owned the buildings, that I'd built something substantial, that I could help my mother but chose not to, because help wasn't what she actually wanted. Instead I said, I have to go. Jake has a soccer game. On Thursday, I received an email from Susan. Your mother's application for the Riverside unit renewal has been processed. Given the new market rate rent and her credit score, the application has been declined. She has 60 days to vacate per the original notice. Let me know if you need anything else. I forwarded the email to my lawyer and asked her to review everything to ensure we were following all legal requirements. He confirmed we were. Everything was by the book. Friday afternoon, my mother called from an unknown number. I answered without thinking. You need to tell me who owns Palmer Property Holdings, she said without preamble. I have a right to know who's displacing me. My heart pounded. Why? Because I'm going to file a complaint. This is elder abuse. Predatory rental practices. I've been researching and there are protections. Mom, you're 62. That's not elderly by legal standards. And market rate rent isn't predatory. How would you know? You're just a property manager. You probably work for companies that do exactly this kind of thing, displace long-term tenants for profit. The irony was so thick I almost laughed. Yeah. I probably do. Can you help me or not? I looked out the window. Jake was in the backyard practicing soccer drills. Happy, adjusted, secure. We'd built a good life. A peaceful life. No, I said. I can't help you. Then you're no daughter of mine. She hung up. I should have felt something, grief, guilt, anger. Instead I felt relief. Clear, simple relief. That evening I sat Jake down. Grandma and I are going through a difficult time right now. We probably won't see her for a while. Because we disrupt peace? Because peace isn't about being quiet and letting people treat you badly. Real peace is about respect. And Grandma hasn't been respectful to us. He nodded slowly. Will she ever be respectful? I don't know, buddy. Maybe. But until she is, we're going to protect our peace. Just you and me. I like our peace, he said. Me too. Later, after Jake was asleep, I opened my laptop and looked at the property portfolio again. 23 buildings. Hundreds of tenants. A business I'd built from nothing, through careful planning, hard work, and calculated risks. My mother would probably never know I owned the building she was being evicted from. She'd move in with Patricia, complain about her ungrateful daughter who worked in property management and refused to help in a crisis, never realizing the help she wanted wasn't actually help at all. And that was fine. Some people spend their whole lives trying to prove themselves to family members who will never see them clearly. I'd spent 8 years building something that didn't require anyone's approval but my own. In the morning, Susan sent another email. Just wanted to confirm, you're okay with the 60-day notice standing? No family exceptions. I typed back, no exceptions. Business is business. Then I closed my laptop and went to watch Jake's soccer practice, where nobody questioned my worth, my choices, or my right to exist peacefully in my own life. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is simply stop playing a game you were never meant to win.